Once I have the surface smooth based on my proposed design, I'm going to go ahead and make contours. Now this design that I'm working on right now could be improved upon by actually adding some swales in there, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this one in the interest of time. To make the contours, I'm going to get outside the group. Now remember, this group has a couple things in there. That group has a reference object at the bottom. I don't want that reference object selected when I create contours. I only care about this, the upper piece, the upper terrain group. With that group selected, I also have the hidden geometry turned off, although I think you could probably leave it on. I'm going to use the Create Contours plugin for SketchUp. Now the Create Contours plugin is not installed by default. I have that as a link here that you can install yourself, but the plugin shows up under the extension menu. It's called Contours. When I choose Contours, it asks for a spacing or interval. I typed in a 1 foot interval, and it's going to start at the bottom of this selected object and slice it in 1 foot intervals. This will not be exactly the elevation of our surveyed contours. It is a reference of just this object itself. So we'll just slice it with 1 foot intervals. I'll hit OK. It's actually calculating here on the bottom left-hand side. You can watch it calculate. It's now giving us more contours than of 118. Go ahead and leave it run. I would not click anywhere. It says not responding up here, but don't listen to it. It actually is running. And I'm just going to hit pause here for a minute, and I'll let you know how long it took. Okay, I just unpaused it. That literally took 30 seconds to finish out those contours. But you don't want to click in here while it's running that script. It can crash on you. These contours are showing up gray because they're actually outside the group. If I click outside, you can now see those contours are now, they show up. We can see some of that manipulated landform show up in those cut contours. For example, that path that we started working with, you can see this contour change along here. Now this is not exactly the way we want this to be. It looks like there's a high point here, then it kind of goes the other direction. If we were to do this as a graded construction document, this would be a lot more clearer. But again, this is not the point of this this exercise to make a contour for a construction document. Our parking lot is a lot more smoother. We also see these little nodes. We actually have more uniform slopes running on those nodes now. They're nothing wavy. It's also going to help us drape the design elements on there as well. Also, take note here that the contours did create a new layer. It's called cont, and whatever this number means. Actually, that is where the contours were actually drawn. We want to have those contours on a separate layer because when we bring them into Civil 3D, we want to be able to isolate those when we start making our comparative surface. So with that built, we don't need those anymore. We're going to go ahead and continue doing the draping of our design so we can actually start adding materials to our proposed design.